So let's have a little chat, shall we? So, I've been busy. I've been busy dealing with clients and just dealing with life in general, but I'm in a very, very good place. And I'm in a good place. I'm sorry, y'all. My other half, he lives with me now, so sometimes, it's an adjustment to having somebody staying with you. You know what I'm saying? It's an adjustment. He's been staying with me for about a month, and it's working out pretty good. We've had a few disagreements, um, but all in all, this is it seems to be working out pretty good. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't be on here like that. I be doing what I do. You know what I'm saying? You know, one thing that I have learned, I just want to put this out here. One thing that I have learned by having my boyfriend live with me, I know I sound like a teenage girl saying boyfriend, but I feel like one sometimes. Not a, you can take it how you want. I don't give a fuck. Shit. One thing that I've learned having, someone that you're in a relationship with live with you, sex don't become all that important no more. When I was, single and by myself, I wanted some dick. Okay? I wanted dick all the time. I was horny all the goddamn time. You know? But I'm realizing now that being in a relationship of any kind, sex becomes less and less important. It becomes more about if that person can back you up. And my friend, he backs me up. My boyfriend, whatever y'all want to call it, sometimes I say friend or whatever, because I really don't like the term boyfriend. Let's just say my friend, my special friend, because he is a special friend, because he does whatever I tell him to do. He does whatever I need to be done for me. Like I cooked tonight. Let's just say I'm the woman in the relationship. Okay? I'm the woman in the relationship. I do the cooking and all that type of stuff, and he takes out the garbage. Okay? Because those roles do traditionally work better when there's somebody who's the feminine half and somebody who's the masculine half. They work better that way. And some gay men, just putting this out here, keeping it motherfucking real, some gay men, one of the reasons your relationships may not be working is because somebody, either both of you are trying to be too much of the same thing, meaning somebody is wearing, two people can't wear the dress and two people can't wear the motherfucking pants. Somebody is going to have to wear the dress. And I don't mean literally, I mean figuratively, metaphorically. Somebody's going to have to be the feminine half and somebody's going to have to be the masculine half. And I think that is why my relationship works. Because I make it my business to have balance in it. But sex has become really, really, really less important. Do we have sex? Of course. But it's not a major focus. For me, it's more about how a person makes you feel. For me, it's more about the energy. My friend is a very peaceful, laid back person. And so am I. You know what I'm saying? He's very peaceful, he's very laid back, and he is very accommodating to me. And let me tell y'all something. Niggas have been mad at me. Y'all niggas have been mad at me. They are mad. Now, ain't that something? They are mad. I'm talking about niggas that I know in my personal life who used to try to get at me when I tell them, no, I got a man now. I can't do all that. My man stays with me. My man, he has a key to my motherfucking house. He has a key to my house. He pays me fucking rent. Well, he don't pay me rent, but he gives me rent money or gives me money just to help me out. You think I'm gonna mess that up? He takes me wherever the fuck I want to go. You know? He pays his way. He looks out for me so much in so many areas. He buys me things. He treats me good. And these niggas are mad at me. They're mad. And they're constantly, and the reason I say that they're mad is because they're constantly trying to find ways to get in to mess up what I have. And I'm not going to let them do that. I'm not going to let you motherfuckers do that. You ain't coming to my motherfucking house no more. I'm not fucking with you no more, because when I was single, you motherfuckers treated me like shit. But now that I have someone, now all of a sudden, you niggas want to come out of the woodwork trying to, seduce me. See, this is where sex demons come in. See, a lot of them are tapping into their sex demon side, and they're trying to coerce me into having sexual relationships with them, even though I got a full-fledged man over here living with me, got a key to my motherfucking house, and they still are trying to find loopholes to get in. That's what demons do. And I don't mean demons in the form of being, afraid, but they are tapping into their demon half. Another form of their demon half that has nothing to do with knowledge. They're tapping into their lower demon half, which connects to the demons of the ego. And they're trying to cause problems in my relationship by trying to coerce me into having sex with them. The answer is no. No, I will not have sex with you. No, I will not meet you anymore. Those days are over. Over. And they're mad. They are mad. I got one dude, he moved to North Carolina. Now he's back in the DMV. And this motherfucker keeps texting me. He keeps texting me. I told him, when somebody tells you that they're in a relationship, then you should respect that, niggas. When somebody tells you that they have somebody, you should respect that, niggas. I'm in a relationship right now. Now, I don't know how long it's going to last. But the way that it's looking, and I don't want to jinx it, but the way that it's looking like this is going to be a long-term thing. It's looking like it's going to be long-term. Doesn't look like he's going anywhere anytime soon, because it was only supposed to be for 3 days. That was a month ago, okay? Because where he lives at, he really doesn't like it. And he just started coming over here spending the night, and he never left. And one of the things that I did was I wanted to make him feel comfortable here I wanted him to feel comfortable. I didn't want him to feel as though he had to walk on eggshells. So in order for him to feel comfortable, I gave him a key, because he had been here for a month. I said, well, I'll just give him a key. And this was before he even, gave me any money or anything like that. Because it wasn't about money. And in truth be told, I told him, I said, look, you really don't have to give me any money. We're friends, we're cool. Because that's the type of person that I am. You know what I mean? That's really how I am. I don't be tripping off no motherfucking money like that, especially somebody that I really like and care for. Now you niggas out there that want a consultation, you gotta pay me, okay? You gotta pay me. I'm talking about people that I have an intimate, relationship with. I'm not petty about no food. I keep plenty of food in the goddamn house because I like to eat, child. Yes, I do. I'm not petty about no food when I cook. I don't mind. But he likes a lot of junk food, like a lot of manly men. He like a lot of junk food, child. I be trying to get him to eat salads and shit like that, but he won't eat it, child. But and he don't gain a goddamn pound. You know how that goes, child. But I'll work on that. He don't like no vegetables or nothing like that, child. Oh my God, he eats Slim Jims, like, child. and potato chips. He loves his snacks. All I have to do is buy him some motherfucking snacks, some Arizona iced tea. He good. That's what he likes, and he can eat. And when he do eat, he can eat. But he contributes. He cleans up. You know what I'm saying? It's a balance between us. He cleans up. He washes the dishes after I cook. You know, he really treats me very well. And I really enjoy having him here with me. I never thought that I would like somebody living with me because, you know, child, you know, I've been an independent, you know that song, Independent Woman? You know, I'm not a woman, but you know that song, Independent Woman. You know, I've been an independent person for so long and alone, you know, for so long that I didn't think that I could ever live with anyone. But, you know, but niggas, yeah, they are mad at me. Niggas are mad. They're mad because I'm in a relationship. They're mad because I will not have sex with them anymore. And they're mad because those sex demons cannot coerce me into doing anything that's going to jeopardize my relationship. Because, see, that's what demons do. That's what trickery sex, I like to call them trickery sex demons. And that's what they do. They're not really dangerous. I mean, they can be dangerous in the sense where they can coerce you to do things that are not in your best interest. They can be like that. But they really have no dominion over you. And a lot of these dudes that are trying to get at me, they have trickery sex demons in them. Like this dude went to North Carolina, I was getting ready to tell you, and said, oh, I ain't gonna never get a chance. I said, no. And he keeps bothering me. I blocked his number recently. Keeps bothering me. I give everybody a chance because I can talk to anybody I fucking want to. You know what I'm saying? They not coming over here. Ain't nobody coming to my motherfucking house. No, nobody's coming to my house. I don't want that. The only person allowed in my motherfucking house is my man. I don't let people in and out of my motherfucking house. I don't like that shit. No, I don't even let my family come to my motherfucking house. Number one, I'm very persnickety about my house. Very persnickety, especially about cleanliness. You know, I'm very persnickety about that now. Where I was at one time, you know, I wasn't as neat as I am now. But after having certain experiences, being homeless for a couple of months, or for 5 or 6 months actually, and just, you know, reinventing myself, you know, I've become more conscious about certain things. And then that also helped me to heal aspects of what people would call the root chakra. You know, which the root is nothing but the foundation, the spiritual foundation within you. So once I started healing that, see, sometimes trauma can help you to heal. And once I started healing that, then I started seeing changes in my behaviors, changes in how I, you know, interacted with people. We're all a work in progress, but there has been some definite progress, you know, for myself, you know. And this is what I really wanted to get into. At this place in time, what people should really be focusing on, I know what I'm focusing on, is reality manipulation and reality creation, especially gay black men. That is where we should really be focusing. See, I created a reality for myself that I consider heaven for me. Whatever that is for you, you have to decide that. And how do you create your own reality? You do it through meditation and visualization. And get off of the notion that you have to be like that so Raven and have images come into your head like that. No. It's not about that. If you can see it in your mind, then it's possible. That's how it goes. I saw a reality where I was being cared for, where I was being celebrated, not tolerated. I saw a reality where I had a man in my life that treated me good, that cared about me, that took care of me. I saw a reality where I lived where there's no pandemics. There's no people around me that wish me harm. I only come in contact with people who lift me higher. There's no fear, there's no regret, there's no sadness, there's no guilt for the most part in this reality that I've created for myself. And that is where, you should be at. That is what your sole purpose should be, to create a reality here that can make you happy, and creating a reality after this place, after you've transitioned out of this body. That should be your main goal as of today, because we are in the end times. And when I say the end times, I'm talking about the end times, not in terms of biblical, not biblical terms. Although the Book of Revelations is an allegory or a metaphor to explain the end times in a coded way, where they're talking about wars and stuff like that and rumors of wars. They're really talking about the war between your ego and your subconscious mind. And they're talking about the rise in Christ consciousness. That is why you have billionaires like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and the rest of these motherfuckers trying to get off the planet. That is why they created this, a pandemic or plandemic, whatever you want to call it, because of the rise in Christ consciousness in the most ancient people on the planet at this time, and that is black people. That is us. There's a rise in our consciousness right now, and there is a mechanism within our DNA that is causing the DNA to, let me say it in layman's terms, to evolve. Our DNA is evolving, and they're trying to shut that down. They're trying to stop the return of Christ. See, the return of Christ has nothing to do with some white man coming out of the clouds and saying, "Come up hither." That's not really what it's about. And truth be told, the version of Christ that people have been, that has been intertwined into so many, let's just say this, the energy of Christ has been intertwined into so many different things. You can even take it back to the Smurfs. I had a dream years ago about Gargamel and Jesus Christ, the white version of Jesus Christ. And Gargamel was a character in the Smurfs. For those of us who are Generation X people who remember the Smurfs, remember Gargamel was a wizard. He was an evil wizard. But what people were not peeping is, okay, in this dream, Gargamel, this was years ago when I was a child, I had a dream about Gargamel and Jesus Christ, and Gargamel was walking up the steps behind Jesus Christ, because Gargamel is actually the shadow version of the Christ energy. Gargamel and Jesus Christ are the same person, but Gargamel was like a shadow or a darker aspect of that Christ energy. You can also look at him as the satanic part of the Christ energy, or whatever the case may be. So Gargamel and Christ and Jesus were actually the same fucking person. Just like Azrael the cat was symbolic of the angel of death. And Azrael was the or if I'm not mistaken, Azrael and Lucifer, were closely linked as well. So the point that I'm making is that, the wool has been pulled over our eyes a lot when it comes to this. And in actuality, they're trying to stop the rise in Christ consciousness. That is what's being done, and people don't really, but what do I know? I'm just a crazy gay guy. You know what I'm saying? And within the rise in Christ consciousness, see, when your Christ consciousness is when you have that rise in your Christ consciousness, and you're tapping into it, you can create whatever reality that you want. That's what Christ was really talking about. You become the God of your own mind. You create your own heaven and earth, or hell for that matter. And I hate to say it, but a lot of black people, you all are creating hell for yourselves. You're creating hell for yourselves. Because you have been duped into believing a system. You've been duped into believing in a systemic way, in a systemic system, basically, a system of systemic practices that has basically shut you down. So because of this rise in Christ consciousness that really started to become more potent, and because of the evolution and the rise or the changes in our DNA and the changes of the mechanism in our DNA, they had to come up with a plan to shut that down because we're their food source. We're their food source. So they had to find a way to shut that down. And that's what's happening right now. There have been, throughout time, throughout history, that has been blotted out. See, number one, let's really get into it. There have been numerous Christ or different versions of that Christ energy. Buddha was a different version of the Christ energy. You can even take different versions of the Christ energy back to some of the Islamic text. If you go back into Sufism, which was the spiritual system that existed before Islam became the religion that it is today. Muhammad was what people would call a version of the Christ, No matter what he did in his human life, but he was a version of that. And see, one thing that is used to cause a lot of trickery and deception is using the false confines and the false context of time. They tell you, oh, Jesus existed 2,000 years ago. No, actually, the last time that there was a rise in Christ consciousness, which is what Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and the rest of them are trying to escape. They're trying to escape this. They're trying to get off the planet and escape this. Because the last time that there was a rise in Christ consciousness within this galaxy, it caused a major cataclysm that took out major civilizations on different planets, not just Earth. I'm talking about planets across the realms. I'm not talking about up there. See, we're so distracted about up there. Planets. Planets coincide and they connect to planes. When they're talking about planets, they're talking about planes, different planes of existences in different realms. Not up there, but different realms, different states of consciousness. The last, right, they say every 12,000 or whatever so years, they say that a cataclysm takes place. No, every in that time frame that I just named or just mentioned, what they're talking about is the rise in Christ consciousness in the original indigenous people of this of respective planets. And the last time that they had a rise in Christ consciousness over 12,000 years ago, that's what happens every 12,000 motherfucking years. So in actuality, Christ didn't exist no 2,000 years ago. Christ existed, if you want to really, and I'm speaking in layman terms, I'm not talking about a literal person, but if you go by what they're really saying and you can see it with your real spiritual eye, Christ existed over 12,000 years ago. That story is older than what people think. It also ties into the story of Noah and the Epic of Gilgamesh. There have been different versions of Christ and that energy throughout history. Even in the Sumerian text, like I said, in the Epic of Gilgamesh, they've talked about, this rise in Christ consciousness and how it can cause upheavals on physical planets. And that is what these elites are fearing. So what are they doing? They're trying to use methods to shut that down so it won't happen again. That is what they're doing, and what's happening is it's causing somewhat of a reverberation, and they're getting a resistance, because you can't stop something that is divine, that is going to happen no matter what. That is why Christ said, I am going to go and prepare a place for you. But symbolically, what that means is that you have to create your own reality. You prepare a place for yourself in your mind where these things won't affect you the way that it affects other people. You understand what I'm saying? So what's really happening is the attempts to shut down the rise in Christ consciousness. And this has happened before. There's been a rise in Christ consciousness before. That is what caused the so-called destructions of Atlantis and Lemuria. Well, there was wars and stuff that were going on too. But you notice, see, this is the thing too. Whenever there's about to be a major rise in the Christ consciousness, even in the book of Revelations, it tells you there will be wars and rumors of wars. Now, I did say earlier that it's the war between your ego and your subconscious mind, but that type of war spills out into the physical realm as well. So, if you notice, whenever this rise in Christ consciousness is getting ready to take place, and what happens is that you will notice that there's a lot of upheaval. You will notice that there's a lot of violence and a lot of angry people. You will know that. You'll see it. We're seeing it now. With the Black Lives Matter and, all of the police killings and, now we have a pandemic and they're talking about the last days before Christ returns. Not a physical person, but a return or a rise in that Christ consciousness. That is what's happening. And before there can be, peace, there has to be balance. There has to be balance first. So what we're seeing now is really what the book of Revelations was talking about, but they put it in a context to scare you and to they put it in a religious context, but it's not to be taken literally. It's not to be taken literally. When they talk about the Antichrist, they're talking about the rise of the soulless agenda. They're talking about the rise of the robots and the robotic mentality that you see in this generation of people who don't have a connection to their Christ consciousness, who don't have a connection to the source, who are cut off from their source, from their soul. That's all they're talking about. The Antichrist is a state of consciousness. It's not a person. It's a state of consciousness. It's a separation from your Christ consciousness, which is the gateway to the higher dimensions. The Antichrist is a low vibrating energy. It's a vampiric energy, like a heterosexual bottom, but that's another story. It's a very low vibrating energy. And that is the energy that a lot of people are tapping into. The Antichrist is about materialism, greed. Everything that is the antithesis of the Christ energy. That is what the Antichrist really is. And what they did was they did this is where the Gargamel energy comes in, because Gargamel was a powerful, sinister wizard who tried to, once again, Gargamel in the Smurfs, what was he always trying to do? He was always trying to turn the Smurfs into gold. Remember? He was always trying to turn them into gold. Gold is a powerful elixir. He was always trying to turn them into gold because he wanted to use them as a food source. So what they did was they had wizards put 666 in the Bible and tell you, oh, that's the mark of the beast. No, 666 or 999 or whatever you want to call it, 666 is a divine motherfucking number. 666, as they say, represents different aspects of the melanin. And it breaks down the protons, neutrons, and electrons in the melanin. So selling a story that's 666, see, that 666 shit in the Bible, in Revelations, that's foretelling you. That's foretelling you right there in a backwards way that if you have that mark, you're doomed. What they're telling you is really and truthfully that is the divine mark. But they intertwined it with that low vibrating Antichrist because they used wizards like Gargamel, that Gargamel energy. They use wizards to confuse people, to tell them, oh no, the 666 is bad. But no, in actuality, 666 is what's going to motherfucking save you. But they put that on the fucking Antichrist. They made the Antichrist the most powerful motherfucking being. They applied that to that energy. But in actuality, the 666 is a divine motherfucking number. And that is who we are as black people. Wait a minute. Let me check something. Let me check something. Wait a minute. Let me see. When you break down 666, it comes out 6 plus 6 is 12. Add that other 6, it comes out to 18. 18 is the number of Christ. 18 is the number of Christ. And then when you break it down even further, it comes out to the number 9. And you can do the rest. And we all know what the number 9 means. 9 is about transition, endings. That's all that it is. 9 also connects to the what's that motherfucker's name that was in the belly, supposed to be in the belly of a fish. It connects to the 9 months that it takes a woman to give birth to a baby. What do they call it? The 9 the different trimesters of birth or something like that. It's about renewal, rebirth. That's what the number 9 means. So in actuality, 666 is not the mark of the so-called beast. 666 is the mark of the divine ones, and that is who we are. So they're going after people with that mark. They say it in Revelations, no one can buy or sell unless you have that mark. Yeah, they tell you that because what they're talking about is our genetics. They're talking about our genetics as black people, real black people, not you not real black people like myself. They're talking about real black people with real discernment, prophets. They're saying that no one can sell or buy anything, but what they're really telling you subconsciously and symbolically is that is the energy that's going to protect you during these so-called end times. But that number has been demonized so much because nobody has really broken it down to what it really means. 666 means the Christ energy. That's Christ. That's not the beast. And I don't give a fuck who got a problem with it because I can back it up. Because I'm a scholar. I can back this shit up. Because that's what I do. I'm the occult view. And I can back it up and show you how it connects to the Christ energy when you break it down to the number 18. The number 18 is a Christ, that's a Christ deity. I believe it ties into Harmarku, which is the Christ energy. So at this point in time, what we should be working on is reality creation. Creating your own reality, because right now you're in the phase where you can do that. This is where you should be right now, creating your own reality through visualization, meditations, and your affirmations. And you need to be stepping them up. You need to be stepping them up more now than ever. So the effects of what they're doing will not affect you as much as it does someone else. Because at the end of the motherfucking day, everyone is not getting COVID. I don't have it. I'm not sick. Shit, I was living in a hotel for 6 months. I didn't get sick. Nothing happened to me. You know what I'm saying? So why is it that some people are getting sick and others are not? Huh? Why is that? I heard Brother Panic's live the other night. I listened to a little bit of it. I didn't listen to all of it. He said something very interesting, and I agree. Occultist, we are winning. Dark occultist, we are winning. And I don't mean dark as far as sinister. I mean as far as hidden. We're winning. And I'm proof of that. We're winning. I have created heaven on earth for myself through my visualizations, through my determination, through my rituals, through connecting with the fairy realm. Y'all need to start connecting with the fairy realm as well, and that's through trees. See, I because I'm gay, and we really operate strongly in that realm. When I walk up to a tree, especially at night, I can see it light up. I can see the fairies in the trees, and I start communicating with them. I give them offerings because fairies help you to create your own reality. They help in and they aid in reality creation. That's what they do. So start going outside, feeding the fairies, giving them food, giving them libations, putting food up under a tree. You know, tomorrow I'm going to make me a pound cake and I'm going to put a piece up under a motherfucking tree. You know, if you like Snickers bars, put one up under the tree. If you like a piece of chicken, put that up under that tree. Feed that energy, because that energy is what's going to help you whether you recognize it or not. It's the subtle things. Like I've noticed subtle things like I don't have a lot of human issues the way that I used to. Of course, there are going to be times when things are going to happen because we're having a human experience, of course. You know? Of course. But at the end of the day, I've noticed that my reality is much different than it was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and definitely 5 years ago. And if you all notice, I'm not even as angry as I used to be years ago when I was up under my other account, you know, Shaman Rising, a long time ago. I'm not as angry and bitter as I was because I've changed my reality. Anger and bitterness has its place. I was angry and bitter for a reason, and I used that. That's my art form. I used it. I didn't abuse it. I used it to get where I wanted to get now. You know, and I'm not bragging. Let me be clear about something. I'm not bragging. I want to be clear. I'm not bragging. I'm not one of those people, oh, look what I got. And no. It's not like that. I don't want to come off like that. But I'm telling people what they can do with their magic, especially gay black men. This is what you can do with your magic once you tap in. You know, but you got to sacrifice something. And what I sacrificed was the trade, child. I had to sacrifice the trade. I did. I had to get rid of them. Because, you know, a lot of them don't mean you no motherfucking good anyway. And once I sacrificed that, it opened up a whole new world for me. You have to give something up, you know. But reality creation is what we should be doing right now. That is what you should be focusing on, being your own creator, manipulating reality and making shit happen that is good for you and making things happen that is conducive for you. Again, nothing is going to be perfect in a physical reality. You know, nothing is going to be perfect, but you can create a reality where things don't engulf you based upon what's going on in this world. But that's why them motherfuckers are trying to get off the planet. Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and all them motherfuckers. But when you tell me the gag is, when the rise of, there's going to be a galactic alignment. See, This is what they don't understand. There's going to be a galactic alignment as well. And there's going to be a galactic alignment between Saturn, Earth, and Mars. 3. Saturn, Earth, and Mars. There's going to be a galactic alignment. And once that galactic alignment takes place, it's going to help to usher in this rise in Christ consciousness. You see what I'm saying? Oh, and Venus. Earth, Venus, Mars, and Saturn, there's going to be a galactic alignment. And it's already taking place. It's already taking place. So they know what's coming. But see, the thing is, if you created your own reality like I have mine, you won't be affected by that. That's just like they said that there was an earthquake in Columbia, Maryland. Columbia, Maryland is not that far away. I didn't feel shit. I didn't feel anything because I'm not in that reality. I'm not in that reality. It's not about, what you see in TV opening up portals, and walls and all. It's not like that. That's Hollywood shit that keeps you distracted. And we're distracted by a lot of shit. We are distracted by so much shit. But they have been shutting down and trying to shut down the rise of the Christ consciousness. That's why they have all these vaccines and shit like that, because they're trying to shut that down in people. Now, whether you want to get it or not, that's up to you. I'm not giving no medical advice. Let me say that as a disclaimer. I don't give a fuck what you do. Oh yeah, it's something there. I'm not discounting that there's something there. But what I'm saying is the reason that they're doing it, because around 2019, I want to say between 2018 and 2019, there was a major rise in Christ consciousness. And they had to put a stop to that. See, this has been in the making since around 1984. They were showing you in Ghostbusters what happens during the rise in Christ consciousness. Remember in Ghostbusters, the first one, and not those god-awful fuckface remakes, they were showing you how the city of New York was engulfed with all types of paranormal activity. They were showing you what happens during the cycles or during that time when there's a rise in Christ consciousness. They were showing you that. Remember, in Ghostbusters, everywhere you went, there was a demon and a spirit everywhere you went that was terrorizing the city. There were all types of poltergeists and stuff like that. That's what's happening now. That is why you see people going so crazy and shit. That is why you see people acting out, just being totally destitute. Because they have been tricked into tapping into their lower selves. What people would call their lower selves, their ego. And they're manifesting these low vibrating spirits, these low vibrating entities, especially black people, because black people are the most indigenous people on the planet. And they're trying to stop that rise in consciousness in us, because if it rises in us, then the rest is motherfucking history. That's what Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and all the rest of them, that's what they know. And that's why they're trying to get off the planet. Because they know what happened in Atlantis and these other places. 12,000 years ago, that was why a lot of these other civilizations went under, because of those cataclysms, and they couldn't stop it. None of the technology they had could stop it, because it's not a technological thing. It's a divine spiritual thing that brings in new change, endings, a new era. But see, we right back to the same bullshit that we were in Atlantis and other civilizations, because we didn't learn our lesson then, and we ain't learning it now. It's just a constant cycle, and they can't stop it. They will never be able to stop it. This isn't about religion. This is about the rise in consciousness, aka Christ consciousness. And I've talked enough. That's all I have to say. Thanks.